Hey, welcome back. Sorry about that. This is take two. My GoPro overheated. I had to wait until now before it allowed me to use it. It needed to cool down. But what I've done is I have actually removed the battery inside my GoPro so that, and what I removed inside the GoPro rectifies the overheating issue. So I didn't think, yes, it's hot here today, but it's nowhere near as hot as what it had been the last couple of days. I didn't think it's hot enough to have caused the GoPro to overheat, but I had no idea that this was got as hot as it did. And you should have seen how hot the battery was when I took it out the GoPro. So it's a beauty with the Volta, this hand grip, the GoPro Volta, is that you can actually use your GoPro without a battery inside. And apparently doing that supposed to stop the overheating issue. So, but I'm going to keep a close eye on the GoPro now. It feels alright. It's warm, but at least I can touch it. It's no problems. Hi Paul, we're back. This is take two. And as I mentioned before, I was live already for about, I'm not sure how long we were on for. Would have been just over an hour. And I should have had enough battery power to last some time. But for some reason, yeah. Now my Volta, I don't know, just let me check, just excuse me. Have a look at my, there, okay, about 2 bars out of 4 bars it's showing. So that should be enough charge there to give me quite a long time of recording. So yeah, so sorry about that. I didn't expect that was going to happen. But hopefully we'll get everyone back into the chat room here, because we had some really great conversation going on there about the batteries in general and about the Starlink as well. How I've mounted the Starlink onto the roof here now. And well, it's actually been on the roof for quite a while, and when I want to go camping, I just unplug it. But I still got a backup system at home, so that I'll have to do a video on it. I'm sure quite a few of you would be interested in this. Is the backup system that I've got at home is I can, just let me know if you can see this video now. Hopefully we shouldn't have the issue with it overheating. Alright, I'm just touching the GoPro now. It's a lot cooler than what it was before. I could get a fan and get the fan to blow on it, but I think we'll be right now. But how crazy was that? I didn't think it was hot enough to have overheated the GoPro. So I was on for an hour, but still not what I expected, and I was surprised how hot it was. I was surprised how hot the battery was. That blew me away, just how hot the battery is. But as I suggested, this new gadget here, this Volta hand grip, has got a real big lithium capacity battery enclosed in it, and you can power your GoPro from it, and because it just plugs into the USB-C, I think it's called, port on your GoPro. And with that, hello, there we are, we're starting to get this back now. Hello Nigel, Troy. Yeah, that was crazy. What a surprise that was. The GoPro overheating. Didn't expect that, especially today. It's not as hot as it has been, so bizarre. But oh well. You're cutting in and out a bit. Alright, check my video here on my phone. It's playing really smooth. Paul, it's playing really smooth on my phone. I haven't had any... I saw one cut out. It cut out briefly. Hang on, whoops, I turned my phone off. There we go. I had one briefly. Here we go. It's just doing it again now. But that was only for a fraction. It just pixelated a little bit. Apart from that, it's high resolution. It's not cutting out. So I'm not too sure why it's not working for you. Here it's working pretty good here. Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, I said I'll be back. We still got plenty to talk about, I reckon. Although, tell you what, I have noticed it is starting to warm up a lot more now. Let me sit down. This nice little platform on the back here where I can sit down. So what I've done, hopefully to overcome the overheating issue again, is I have actually removed my GoPro battery and I'm powering it now just off my hand grip. So there's no battery inside the GoPro. So hopefully we have not had any issues. In fact, there's this nice big check this out. See if I can take a photo and show you the photo of what I'm looking at here. There we go. I don't know, unfortunately, I don't know if the GoPro will focus this close. I've got a bit of lens flare there because I've got a little flashlight. I've got a little Joby light. It's a fill-in light. And that's what you're looking at. But look at the battery. See, there's a X and a cross in it. So that indicates there's no battery inside the GoPro. But it's powered with this little contraption here. See if I can, hopefully, see if I can get a photo of this. There we go. Well, if I open the phone up. There we go. So that's the hand grip that's got this big lithium battery in it. And it just plugs into the USB-C port on your GoPro. And you can power your GoPro all day. Okay, they say all day you can film with it, practically, without having to worry about swapping the battery over. So that's what that is there. Let me go back, flip the phone close again. How awesome are these fold phones? Love this. And I like using the front screen here. As you can see, I just like to use, most of the time I use that front screen. So we got 12 watching. That's not too bad for me. I'm no Buck. Buck gets his 200-300 watching. It'd be nice to have that many on, but it'd probably be a struggle to keep up with the comments. So look, it's a shame that it overheated and dropped out, because looks like a lot of yous have not come back over. Probably don't realise I'm back on. Do you have a link to that battery hand grip? Oh, I can't. Oh, it'd be hard to show you right now. It's a GoPro product. So it's called a Volta with a V. V for Victor. V-O-L-T-A. So it's a GoPro Volta. V-O-L-T-A. Do a quick search on that and you'll find it online. And it's brilliant. It's worth the investment, particularly in this hot climate like this, and then you don't have to change batteries all the time. Apparently you get hours and hours of use out of it. It'll last you, you know, probably get at least 4 hours plus of filming in high 4K resolution with this hand grip apparently. So yeah, I first saw it at the local what do you call, JB Hi-Fi here, and I thought, gee, that looks interesting. I thought it looked pretty dear too for what it is, but I tell you what, it's good value for what it does do. In fact, it's awesome, because especially here, it should rectify the issue with the overheating. I'm just going to touch it now. Alright, she's still warm. I'll tell you what, wow, the GoPro is still really hot. So it's although it doesn't, I don't think it feels, or I don't know, I don't think it feels as hot as what it did before. I mean, I'd be I think I'd be inclined to actually grab a fan and having a fan blown on it. I think it's pretty warm. Pretty warm. Now, maybe it doesn't like going live for this long. But it's still, it's saying it's warm. It's still very warm, but it's definitely not as hot as what it was when I grabbed it before. I could not touch the GoPro. That was how hot it was. It felt like it was burning my fingers. And I had to wait some 10-15 minutes, because I tried turning it on and it just said, came up with a message, the GoPro is too hot, and it wouldn't go any further. So I switched it off and waited a bit longer. We've got a bit of a breeze coming through here, but I tell you what, it's a hot breeze, so it won't be helping. So even if I've got a fan, I think she's still going to be hot. That'll be, yeah. I'm just playing around, it's just filming it, seeing how hot it is. I don't think it's as hot as it was before, but it's still a bit too hot for my liking. So you see cut, but I think I'll go for another hour. I don't know how long the other live feed was on for. But yeah, we were talking about Starlink. I just remembered now. I was going to talk about how I got mine set up with a backup system, that when I unplug the Starlink to take with me, in fact I should bring the camera over and show you how let's do that. Okay, let's go for a little bit of a walk and I will show you. Okay, so there's the Starlink. So you can see how I'm got that mounted. It's got the foldable, so you can see the roof mounting point there. Just got that, oh, I hope you can hear me. I just got that bolted through. And what I've done here is how I've run the cable. You see there? And just run the cable right along the wall, right along there. So it's hidden away a bit. Let me try to, I've got a mess in the back patio here. I've got to clean this out. I've got too many, I've got fire pits, I've got barbecues everywhere here. Right along here, right up to here. And that's where, oh, excuse me, dusty, whew. And that's where it's inserted into the wall. And I used, hang on, and I used the masonry kit to get Starlink. It's really, in fact, awesome kit, good value for money, because it comes with two really long masonry bits, And the masonry bits are oh, I don't know how long they are. Geez, they wouldn't be much shorter than a foot long, just about. They're humongous. And so you get everything with the kit to allow you to mount it through the masonry bit, because it's got two masonry bits. Let me try to set this up properly. Okay. So yeah, I'm just checking to see how. So it's got two masonry kits. One's 1/2 inch, so you pre-drill for 1/2 inch first, and then you drill in with a inch, and it comes with a 1 inch masonry bit about so long. Huge. In fact, when I showed the picture to Terry in Harvey Bay, if you're watching Terry, he said, oh, I don't know if your drill will go through that. He says, well, I've got this real big hammer drill at home, big industrial one that you might need if you struggle, if your drill struggles with it. I can, jump in the car and come down and help you out with installing it, drilling the hole for you. And I said, oh, Terry, I reckon my drill would do it, because I've got a Milwaukee 18 volt battery drill, a hammer drill. And that thing's powerful. So, but that masonry, I've got to tell you too, explain to you, that masonry where it's located, it's above the doorway, it's filled with cement. So it's not just like, it's just the, these are the real big masonry blocks. They're about that long, that high, but hollow inside. That's not hollow. What happens is around the door frames, when they built this house, it's built quite strong. Back around, I know, nearly 40 years ago it would have been built now. And what they done is they filled it up with cement inside there, so it's solid cement. And so the 1/2 inch drill, I went through and it got through no problems, and then I was worried, oh, maybe Terry's onto something here, maybe it might struggle a bit. But I tell you what, that Milwaukee drill didn't labour at all, just went boom, straight through it. It was amazing. I had to use fast, it wouldn't do it on slow speed, so I put it on hammer, and it's a hammer you can see on as well, and I put the hammer at speed that as fast as it could, and that was the only way it'll drill right through solid cement about that thick right through. And it got through pretty easy, but I'll tell you what, after a while it was really hot. So it was one its capacity, but it did it, it got it through. So Terry could go, wow. Drifter looks like they make a good Starlink bag, Phil. Yeah, they do. The Drifter, I saw the Drifter one. The bag itself is great. I saw a video on it. I don't like the way that everything is just placed in there loose. It's got a pocket for, yeah, he's got a bag for the Starlink. You slide inside a bag and then put that in, and then you just set all the other stuff on the top. I would much prefer my suggestion is to don't throw away, if you order a Starlink, don't throw the inside packaging away. Keep that and put that inside whatever bag you get, and then everything just fits in perfectly. Then you won't have any chance of scratching or damaging anything. It's got a spot for everything. It won't slide around or move or anything. So the Drifter bag, I just found that everything is just, to me, from what I see, everything is just too loose inside. Now, if you're going to carry it in a caravan or somewhere like that, no problems whatever. You could just whack it on the floor or put it on the bed or under the bed or in the cupboard, whatever, as long as you store other stuff on the top and it doesn't bang around too much. Yeah, but it works fine for that. But you're going to mount inside a 4 drive, and you think you want to go to Fraser Island or somewhere 4 driving with it and go up some of the dirt roads and rough roads like I do to get to some of the camping spots I like to go to. I would like it protected better than that. And plus, if it's inside a canvas bag, then you can't really put anything on the top of it, whereas in a 4-drive, you put it inside a hard case, then you know, and it's sealed and it's padded properly, then particularly if you keep the inserts that come with it, put them inside a box a similar size as what the original box is, and then you're going to have no problems. You're not going to damage it, and plus then you'll be able to store stuff on top of it. You won't lose that space as well. So that's my thoughts on those soft bags, the canvas bags. Good for caravans, stuff like that, you know, if you're not going 4-driving and that, and you've got plenty of room to store it, because then you can't really put anything on the top. It's just, you just put that there and you can't have anything else near it, basically, really, otherwise it get banged around too much. So me, I'm just using the original packaging, even the cardboard box that came with it, and I've taken it with me a few times now going away camping, and it's been awesome. It's been great. Actually, I'll tell a lie, the last time I didn't take it with me because there was the last 2 times I didn't take it with me because Rob was there with his. Steve from formerly FJ Camping and Cruising, now Saw Adventures, he's got one now. I'm surprised he's not on here. Are you here, Steve? I wonder what he's up to. He's probably in the shed mucking around doing something. Hey, Buck! Hey, you're in New South Wales. No, mate, I don't blame you for racing down there. It's ridiculously hot up here. We've been having a extreme, you reckon last week was hot? We're just going through an extreme heat wave here right now, and it is crazy how hot it is. Crazy. So I see you're already in New South Wales. I'm not surprised. I don't blame you. Tell you what though, I don't know if it's true, Buck, you're still watching. I was watching on the news app on my phone this morning. Apparently it's snowing in New South Wales. Or is it the Victorian Alps? Jindabyne, is that in New South Wales? Apparently there's a lot of snow there. How bizarre is that? If that's true, that is unusual. So, gee, Buck, you might want to have to get those winter woolies out a lot sooner than you suspect if you go too far south. Watching me on Starlink, how ironic, and I'm actually filming on Starlink. How cool is that, eh? You're watching me on Starlink and I am going live on Starlink. How cool is the Starlink? Tell you what, guys, I must admit I was a little bit, hang on, let me see if I can get this phone set up so it's on an angle so I don't have to hold it. I was a little bit dubious about Starlink at first, as you could probably tell in some of the videos I filmed. But what got me was when I went camping with Rob, and we went to Cobb & Co campgrounds near Gympie. What a cool spot that is. I've heard about it, but I've never been there. But wow, the facilities there, amazing place to camp. If you never had a chance to and you're near Gympie, check out Cobb & Co campgrounds. Oh, amazing little spot that. Well, Rob, he's started there, and we all camped in amongst thick vegetation. So Rob says, I'm going to get the Starlink out, and I looked around, I thought, oh yeah, there's no way in the world this is going to work. There's trees around us everywhere. He plugged it in and he hooked us all up, and there was about 6 of us all hooked up to Rob's Starlink. And I tell you what, I was sold. For the next 2 or 3 days, we are connected to Rob's Starlink. It hardly ever disconnected. I don't recall watching YouTube at any stage where it stopped. And download speeds were averaging well over 100 downloads. And that was it. That got me sold. So when I got home, I ordered it. And luckily I got it when it was half price, and luckily I also managed to buy it just in time to get the 2 months for free. Apparently they started introducing not only half price, but you get 2 months of free access, and they were backdating it back to a certain date, and I contacted them after having mine in use for about a month or so, just over a month, and yeah, they gave me the 2 months free. Sorry, Buck. I know, poor Buck. I know he paid full price for it and he got nothing extra. I 2 months free. I've still got 1 more month free. Not only that, Buck, out of the blue, just, I don't know, I didn't order it or anything, just out of the blue one day, it turned up another Starlink adapter, a roof pivoting point worth, what, nearly $100 they sent to me for free. I didn't pay for. I love Starlink. I can't tell you how much I love it. Bargain. Especially for these 2 months, I'm not paying for it. I'm getting it for free. I won't have a bill. My next bill won't be until March before I get a bill. I've only paid for 1 month so far. I've paid half price and I've only paid for 1 month so far. It is getting very popular. It's very, very popular, Starlink. And I'm not surprised why it's getting popular. So, yeah. So, yeah, it's awesome to see you on here, Buck. And, well, I don't know where you are in New South Wales. You don't have to tell me. But, are you far enough down south where it's cooler? Or is it still stinking hot where you are? I'll tell you what, some really nice places to camp along that New South Wales coastline, as you're probably going to find out now. It's awesome camping along the beachfront. If you're really hot, if you check out Hip Camp, you'll find plenty of places there. There's one place in particular, I'm not sure where it is. It's somewhere near the turn-off to Gloucester, somewhere there, north of New South Wales. I didn't go there, but I've always wanted to. You camped on top of this huge sand dune, and you got this, and the campsites, every campsite is overlooking the beach. And the views, I haven't been there. I've been meaning to always go there and camp there. But the views from every campsite, just looking through the photos, is just absolutely phenomenal. It's just absolutely unbelievable. I'll see if I can find it. I found it on Wikicamps. I'll see if I can find it, Buck, and send it to you. I don't know if it's dog friendly or not, that's the only thing. But I haven't camped there. But I think it's somewhere north of the turn-off to Gloucester. Could be an hour's drive or something north of there, if I recall. Somewhere in that area, and it's on the coastline. Right on top of this dune. This dune would have to be at least 100 metres high by the looks of it. And it's got this flat area just cut into this big, when I say it's a dune, it's probably more like a mountain top, and you've got this flat area cut into it for your caravans, your camping and so on. And as I said, every site has got the view, every site, and it's staggered. You've got one lower layer down, and then the next lot you got another layer on the top, and then the next site, so staggered like that. So you know, you still got all the views just in a straight line. And yeah, it looks like a magic spot to just sit there and enjoy the incredible views of the ocean. Yeah. So Starlink, very popular. And with Starlink, as many of you should probably suspect, The RV version is exactly the same as the home version. There's no difference. It's just that so they're all powered by 240 volt, but luckily you can get away with just a cheap pure sine wave in something at least 300 watts. Pure sine wave inverter will do it, or many of these battery packs you see now, the lithium battery packs that's getting around with the 240 volts and all that, everything built into them, they would certainly run Starlink no problems. But Starlink is quite efficient, even using my 1600 watt inverter in my my Multi Plus, is a Victron Multi Plus. I'm finding that it's only using, you know, between AC wise 35 to 45 watts. It depends if you're using it. If you're using it and it's transferring data up and down, it will go up to like 45 watts. If it's on standby, you look at 30-35 watts or thereabouts, which equates to probably 3-4 amps per hour by the time you convert that over to DC. So it's kind of what it's consuming in my system, anywhere between 2 to 4 at the most, usually mostly 3.5. But in saying that, my Victrons are probably some of, if not the most efficient inverters you can get. So your inverter will probably be more like an extra amp on top of that, a lot of the other inverters out there, from what I can see. So yeah, they don't use a lot of power as such. But I'm going to look into, I'm going to try something different here. I'm going to try to have it set up so that I can power my Starlink off 12 volt and not the inverter. It's not something I need to do because I've got 330 amp hour battery and I've got a really good inverter. I don't need to do it, but I think for my YouTube channel and for a lot of you guys that only wants to get Starlink and use it on the road, and you're only running maybe, let's say, an AGM battery or just a 100 amp hour lithium battery, where a lot of you is all you've got, then if you run from the research you need to, if you run it just for 12 volt, it drops the power consumption down to about 20-25 watts. So instead of consuming my base 2 or 4 amps, it'll probably drop it down to 1 or 2 amps per hour. And there's no reason why it won't work for use like that. So for use that are using battery, there's a few devices you got to get. You need a 12 volt to 48 volt converter, because Starlink is powered by 48 volt. So you need that, and you need a PoE switch, a power Ethernet port. It's a PoE switch that needs to power off that as well to give power to Starlink. And then when you do that, you don't even have to use the Starlink router. You could actually use your own router as well. But that's something I've got to look into. I probably will continue using a Starlink router because I find it very good when you're traveling on the road. The signal strength is not as strong. It doesn't travel as far a distance as your home network routers, and that will. But it's still, if you stay reasonably close to it and around your camp, you've got no problems whatsoever. But the fact is that it drops the power consumption down quite a lot. But I was just thinking something then, you know, you can, if you do that, you can get away without using the Starlink router. But then you're still going to need a router anyway. So, and you plug in for the Ethernet, and then you got to power the router. So I didn't think of this. It may not work. It might end up consuming more power. Although if I power, actually it will work if I power the, if I power the standard Starlink router through the 48 volt. Yeah, no, I don't know what I'm thinking. Hang on, I'm just getting ahead of myself too much. I'm going to look into it first. I'm going to order all the parts through Amazon, so it'll come from America. It's going to take like 5-6 weeks to probably get here, just on cheap postage, I was imagine. So it's a project long term, and if it works, I'll do a demo on how to do it, how to build it, what parts to get. It's not going to cost a lot. In fact, I found a mob here in Australia that is doing something very similar, virtually exactly the same idea what I've got, doing it with the 12 to 48 volt converter, and they're charging like $200 or something for it, whereas if you go on Amazon and order it from overseas or China or anywhere like that, you can get it for like $30, $40, $50, you know. So but you just got to be prepared to wait the long time before it gets here. So I mean, there's no way I'm going to go and spend $400 or $500 doing this if I buy this here in Australia. Where these guys have probably just done that. They probably just bought it from Amazon and kept them in stock and whacked it, like put it 5 times the price on it to make a bit of a profit and then send it out to you. So yeah, so that's something I'm looking at doing, and that's something coming up in the future. I haven't ordered anything yet. So considering it's going to take parts here a year or a month or so to arrive here, I probably should seriously start looking into ordering something. And yeah, but we'll see. I mean, I could pay more, heat more for freight and get it here pretty quick through Amazon, but I don't mind. I just want to keep it a budget because I don't need to do it. It's just something I think will be good to do for my YouTube channel. I think it'll gain a lot of interest, and I'm into things like that. I like dabbling into electronics and stuff like that. So I think it's something that will benefit people as well. And the fact, from what I'm looking, it will drop the consumption rate quite a lot over, because then you haven't got the inverting, you know, that your inverter loses, you know, efficiency. It's not as efficient running as running a 12 volt appliance. When it's running off a battery, it's more efficient to run the 12 volt appliance off the battery than it is to run it through a 240 volt through an inverter. So it should drop the consumption down to as little as 2.5 watts. It's probably be about 2 amps the most, I'm thinking, which is a big difference if you're only running a AGM battery or a 100 amp lithium battery that a lot of yous are. So there's something to keep an eye out in the future. So how long have we been on for? How hot is it? Oh yeah, she's warm. Yeah, Buck, are you still watching, Buck? This is my second live video today. I'm in North South Wales, North South Wales it would be. It'll cool down as you go further south, I reckon, soon. My GoPro down after about an hour going live. But what I've done is I'm now running a GoPro without a battery inside it. And apparently if you run your GoPro without a battery inside it, it doesn't overheat. You don't have the overheating issue. Now, touch GoPro, it is hot. It is still hot, very hot. But at least it hasn't shut down like it did before. And to me, it's hot, but it doesn't feel as hot as what it was before. But it's still too hot for my liking. But apparently we're running a GoPro without a battery. But then how am I powering it? How am I powering it? You might be asking. How in the world is it powering? Is it magic? It's powering with no power. No. Let me try to share you a photo. And then it's got this beaut little GoPro thing. You can buy this GoPro handle. That's called a Volta. Okay, if you see that there. So that's called a GoPro Volta, V-O-L-T-A. It's got a huge lithium battery inside it. And it's just got the cable. You see there's a cable there. It just plugs into the USB-C port on your GoPro. Now that will give you enough battery life in there to film all day. So you don't have to change your batteries. And apparently, something I should have done beforehand, before I started filming the first video, is I should have took the internal battery out so it wouldn't have overheated like it did. And that's another good feature of it, is that it helps to stop your GoPro from overheating by removing the internal battery and running off the Volta. Now, hopefully the price on Starlink might come down a bit. Yeah, I don't know if it'll ever come down. I know there's a third generation coming out. I don't know when. It won't be until probably the end of the year. I found out about it about 2 days ago. So there's a third generation Starlink coming out. It is slightly bigger than the second generation what we got now. So it's going to overcome a lot of the issues if you're in an area where the signals, you know, you've got a few trees. It's going to help overcome those issues because it's a slightly larger foot area. And I don't know how much it's going to be, but it's just been approved by FCC, whatever they are, FCCA or whatever, whoever they call themselves. It's just been approved. So they're currently testing 200 of these units at the moment, and once they pass all the testing, so the new third generation of the Starlink dishes will be released. I don't know when that would be. I'd say, like I said, probably the end of this year or maybe the following year, depending how their testing going. But they've got approval as of last week. Yeah, it'll have a larger gain antenna. Yeah, I think it does. I've heard something about that. So it's going to be faster. It's going to pick up signals more easily. Although, to be honest, I don't think Starlink needs to be any faster than what it is now. I'm consistently getting 200 downloads. Uploads a lot. I'm not getting 200 upload. It's more like anywhere between 10 and 20. At times I do pick up about 30, 35. If I wake up early morning, particularly after midnight or whatever, it seems to be fastest from around 11 o'clock at night through to about 6, 5 a.m. in the morning. Upload speeds are a lot faster and download speeds are faster too. I'm testing around 250, 235, occasionally we're just touching 250 early mornings. Sometimes early evening, looking at 150, 120 instead of the, but mostly around 200 speeds I'm getting, and that's with the home version. And apparently the home version is faster than the RV version, depending where you are. Particularly if it's congested where you live. And they're starting to get some congestion happening. But SpaceX released about 56 satellites in the past week. I think it's 56 or 36, I'm not sure. Yeah, I know, I've heard that. They're looking at going 1 gig download at some stage. Isn't that amazing? 1 gig. Can you imagine that? Far out. I mean, it's going to be awesome. I've noticed a big difference I was lucky In fact, it fools me. I'd go on the computer, particularly the first week after I disconnected the NBN and just went 100% Starlink. Best move I've done. It's awesome. I've never, apart from a couple nights ago where it pissed down for 1 hour, just bucketed down about 4 or 5 inches. It's the only time I ever had Netflix or YouTube cut out on me while I'm watching it. Is Starlink set at one price? No, well, no, it's not. There's different prices. Whether you go for the dish itself, currently it's the same price, $450 delivered to your door. That's including freight. That's in Australian dollars, so they will post it to you. And it's $450 whether you go for the home version or the RV version. There's no difference. The home version is around about 129 or 139? I can't remember. It might be $139 a month. But that's unlimited downloads. The home version. The RV version is $179, but you can go anywhere in Australia with the RV version. And the other difference, big difference between the two, is the RV version you can actually put it on hold. So if you only want to use it for a month per year, you can switch it off all the other month and just get the app and just activate it when you want to use it. So you only use it for the month that you're using it for. The home version, you cannot do that. Okay, so well, you can, but you've got to close your account. But if you close your account, you might be lucky to get back onto the home version in your location. So if it gets congested, you may not be able to get back on it. But if that happens, you'll still be able to sign up with the RV version. Now the RV version, particularly if you're in a congested area, it's not going to be as fast as the home version. So when you're using a home version and you're at home, or it's using it wherever its registered address is, you're going to get prioritized service, so you'll get maximum speed out of it, whereas the RV version can be degraded. They can slow that down, particularly if you're in a capital city, sunny coast, Gold Coast, Sydney, Melbourne, you know, those places is where you're really going to notice the difference as they get sell more and they get more congested. I'm looking down, sorry guys, if you're wondering why I'm looking down, not straight at the camera, I've got my phone just below the camera. I'm just reading the comments here as I go along, so I try to always keep looking at the camera. So that's the yeah, what's this? When the Gen 3 is out, you can get that higher gain antenna for our Gen 2, so that will be nice. Yeah, I would imagine we will be able to upgrade to the Gen 3. I see no issues with that. A magpie just joined me. I swear it was nearly going to land on me lap. It's a wonder you didn't see it. Which would be awesome. How we got Dean here? Have we? What's it, Dean? Who else are we here? Troy. How's the airbags watching you on Star? Someone wanted to know how the airbags are going on Buck's truck. Buck put airbags on the back of his truck to level it out a bit more, because it was starting to sit down a tad on the back. That's what I had to do with mine. I started here and things to start down a bit lower. I went into the about 6 months, or might have been 4 months after I bought this. I went into the King's factory at Gold Coast where they make the springs, and they actually custom build. That's the beauty, guys. They looked at the vehicle, they saw the weight and everything, and they suggested the springs, and they kind of had a custom built springs for me made up. And you know, they only charged they fitted it for me. I think they only charged about $200 or $250 for the 2 springs on the rear, fitted, custom, and very, very good. in the front I've got Steins, and they seem to be okay, although I'm thinking about replacing them soon, because they've been in, goodness knows how long they've been in there for. So yeah. Oh, how long have we been on for? I might log off now. 50 minutes. This GoPro's running pretty hot. So it's still pretty hot right out here. I'm starting to sweat up. It's not as hot as it was yesterday. That's why I'm sitting out in the garage and it's overcast. And we've still got a bit of sprinkling the rain here at the moment. So I've got the aircon on inside the house. So I might call it at that and go and enjoy the aircon inside the house and catch up on some YouTube channels I've missed out this week. I haven't watched yet, so catch up on that. So, oh wow, we've got 18 watching. How awesome is that? Oh, that must be the most I've ever had on stage. Have I ever? Oh no,